Ang bahaging ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Philippine Sports Commission. Looking for the best deals? Head to Robinson's Department Store, your one-stop shop for daily essentials and unbeatable savings. Don't miss out. Shop now!
Well, as the first female doing or who did anchoring in basketball for both TV and radio, and paano mo na-break yung barrier na yon? And then how do you view it like for especially it's a male-dominated industry?
Tama. Actually, it wasn't very easy at all. It was a long journey. But prior to that, nakapag-Olympics na ako, covering multi-sports, and I've done many other things na national or international sports events. And then it really took for just one person to say, alam mo, may nakikita ako sa'yo, baka kaya mo to. And that really triggered it because it was even an idea that I never imagined. I never even dared imagine because we're so limited. We're always left to believe na tayo, and I need to say, tayo mga kababaihan sa industriya na to, hanggang dito lang. And it happens in other industries as well. Hanggang dito lang. You're great, hanggang dito lang. So, it took for a seed to be planted. And it was that seed of belief and faith that made me aspire for it. Even as I was a courtside reporter, I was a game producer, and I was doing many other things behind the scenes. Not just for the PBA, but for other things in the different networks that I had to work for. Kung saan ang PBA, dun kami. And then the opportunity happened and I had training. So I first started with radio, and yun, pasundot-sundot lang sa radyo. But it didn't take long before I was able to do or get the anchor seat for the PBL, which is the D-League at that time. And it was under Commissioner Chino Trinidad. And natatandaan ko, si Chino, sabi po niya, Patring! Patring kasi tawag niya sa akin. All the oldies in the sports media industry na you know who you are. Pati si Bill, Patring! So, you know, he gave me encouragement. Kaya mo yan, ano? Because I was really nervous. So I went on and did it, and I found that, you know, I had what they were looking for, which is the ability to communicate, to convey, to entertain, to inform, all within a basketball game, and engage not just the audience, but the analysts who, you know, most likely at that time was a former basketball player. So it wasn't just about your knowledge of the game. That's part of it. It isn't just about your insights, kung ano nangyayari sa liga, what's happening with the team and everything and each player. That's not just it. But really, it's the overall, it's your overall ability to put all of that together. Kasama na rin ng lakas ng loob para gawin yon. And I think it's important to realize that you just have to really be mentally present. That's one gift that not a lot of people have. That they're not able to see every little piece that is happening, and you're able to tell a story about it.
But how did you become a storyteller? How were you able to put that small pieces together and then come up with a really good story about any kind of player, league, or, you know, any narrative na kinukwento mo?
Nakakatuwa yung question na yan because I really think all of us have the ability to be storytellers. We as children, na napakinggan natin yung mga magulang natin na magkwento. Tayo, pag nagkukwento tayo sa mga kaibigan natin, so we all have that ability. But of course, it takes a certain level, a higher level of storytelling. And I think it was just from observation, from experience, and really studying the craft, the sport, and what makes people emotionally drawn to a particular event or what they're watching or to a player or an incident that's happening. So, I think yung awareness na yon and yung desire mo na ma-communicate kung anong nangyayari to bring people in doon sa moment na yon within your coverage, I think those are parts of what made me become a good storyteller. I was really just a newsreader. Na mali-mali pa, ilang beses pa ako napagalitan, mali-mali pa yung hawak ng papel, sinugod pa ako sa studio pagkatapos ko ng news break. Alam mo yon, ang daming nangyari, but people put in a lot of effort to help me. From getting outside help, a teacher, to help me with my Filipino, to having to read yung mga Tagalog na newspapers out loud sa opisina at ng production para lang tumuwid yung dila ko. And my improvement, diba?
Ang programang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Bank of the Philippine Islands. Do more with BPI.
Before the Sydney Olympics in 2000, I was asked nga to try to be a sportscaster. I used to play different sports naman growing up, but I was never at a level where I really played for school. And I probably wasn't that good, but I've always thought na athletic ako, parang kaya ko lahat yan. Any sport, kakayanin ko. And I applied that kind of mindset when I was asked to be a sports or to try sportscasting. My mindset was, alam mo, kaya ko yan. Kakayanin ko yan, and I'll do what it takes. So I studied. I studied being a sportscaster. I prepared for the task that they asked me. In fact, and I share this a lot, in 2000 Sydney, it was gonna be the first time that Taekwondo was gonna be an Olympic sport. Before, it was just an exhibition sport. So, nung naging Olympic sport siya, we were gonna have 4 Filipinos compete in 4 weight categories. And so, they said, sa'yo to, i-assign natin sa'yo to. So I studied. In fact, I trained under Coach Stephen Fernandez, who was, someone who had participated in the Olympics when, like I said, it was an exhibition sport. Either, you're all in or you're not.
Why? Why get involved in the sport? Why do the sport?
Oh, I didn't want to just read about Taekwondo. I didn't want to just watch videos. I wanted to experience how it was to get kicked. Honestly, like, ano ba yung pag-iisip niya? Bakit siya ganyan? Bakit niya gustong nasasaktan? But of course, prior to the Olympics or prior to Taekwondo, I did the opening ceremonies with Sev Sarmenta. Wow. Saludo. I mean, from someone who never did sports, wala akong experience sa sportscasting, isasaba kagad ako sa opening ceremonies. Ganun ba talaga? Ang ginawa ko, ang dami kong mga cue cards. And sa cue cards na yon, nakaayos na yan. According to the Olympic order. Nandyan na kung sino yung mga information about the country, how many times they've participated in the Olympics, how many gold medals have they had historically and in the last Olympics. Iba naman yung kultura natin dito sa Pilipinas. And at that time, we weren't very NBA-ish. Ngayon kasi, naririnig mo na very NBA yung type of annotation or commentary na nakikita. At that time when I was starting, it wasn't necessarily like that. You would still hear the voices of Ed Picson and all of those that were really such legends during the time that I started. Yan, sila Sev, talagang ang gagaling. So I really wanted to study them. So I kept notes at things that were culturally acceptable, but also I put my own voice and style. A lot of times, the young women, even the ones who have been there for a long time in our industry, feel trapped. They feel that they don't have enough of a voice. So honestly, being able to provide that one-on-one mentorship and encouragement and having a safe space for them to bounce off all of those ideas, even if it's ideas and emotions from you, I think that has a lot of importance. Because sometimes for us women, when we go out there in the industry and we want to talk like that in a room full of men, guess what? You're emotional. Listen. And not to put down men, but sometimes there isn't room. So Vince and I actually met randomly through friends. After we first met, we started bumping into each other more, but it was really kept under wraps. Only a few people know, but the reason why I didn't want anyone to know is, number one, I didn't want any teams or players to feel that I was biased towards his team and him. And number two, I didn't want it to get in the way of anything, of my career and his focus. And I think one of the main reasons also is because, you know, fans will be fans. Honestly, I didn't think na, you know, parang sino ba ako? Ba't ba ako magiging girlfriend? And ng isang katulad na Vince Hizon. Of course, I knew more and more and more of him. Not just him as the popular celebrity basketball player, but as a person. And his fans were very, very loving and protective of him. Yun. So, a few months after that, he proposed. And, you know, obviously, I was in shock. And he did it in such a manner where so many people were involved, all the way to the commissioner's office, the teams giving approval also, not just his team, because they were gonna be, you know, somewhat disturbed, I guess. No, but all of the people that he had to go through to make that happen and get help from the production, pati yung song namin, tinugtog ba naman sa Araneta.
Were you able to answer your question? Who are you to be able to, you know, experience all this success?
Oh, I like
in all
that.
aspects of your life.
Well, honestly, I'm just really blessed. You know, I accepted the Lord as my Savior after all of these blessings had happened already. And while more blessings were pouring into my life, and looking back at it, I said, you know, there really are no accidents. God gives us these opportunities and these abilities because He's using us. He's using us. So my purpose in life is not to be the first female basketball anchor for the PBA or whatever, or PBL. My purpose in life is not to be the first husband-wife tandem, or to be a newscaster, or to be this, or a trainer. You know, my purpose in life is really to glorify God in everything that I do, and to be able to help others, you know, do the same. So that's really who I am. I'm an instrument. I'm not the first Filipina, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's just a consequence of who I really am. Kasama lang yan eh. It's a bonus. But who I really am, siguro madami sa inyo magsasabi, ano ba yan? Preachy. But there's no other explanation.
Ang bahaging ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Smart Sports. Ang programang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Bank of the Philippine Islands. Do more with BPI. Ang programang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Bank of the Philippine Islands. Do more with BPI. Waterproofing o sealant ba ang hanap mo? Sa German technology ng Sista, protektado ka hanggang 10 taon. Yan ang tapal na tatagal.